What's up, guys? It's Chris. Welcome back to VHB Engines. So, we had a crazy announcement last night. There's been a rumor of people showing a car that's going around in camouflage being test driven, and there was a rumor that it was an Integra, which I like immediately dismissed. I'm like, nah, not likely. More like, yeah, I extremely doubtful it is an Integra. And then Honda Pro Jason threw out that, yeah, it is an Integra. Like, we get that little clip, and, the light coming on, and then it's like, Integra. I'm like, holy shit, it really is an Integra. But of course, the first thing that comes to my mind is ITR. That's the reason why they're doing this. I'm like 99.9% confident and sure that this is the reason why they're doing this. I think the Integra's return is a direct result of how well the CTR has been received and how well it is sold. Now, if you don't know any history on the Type R's American sales, like when, before the FK8, we only got one Type R before in the past, and that was the ITR. And the ITR actually cost Honda money to sell in the United States because of the fact that they had to add emissions shit to the car. It wound up actually costing them extra money to sell that car here. And so on every single car, they took a loss. And I think that that directly resulted in them deciding, well, we're just not going to fucking, sell these cars in America. Whatever. So we never got the CTR here, and the ITR we only got for one generation, I believe, before they continued selling the R's around the world. So, the fact that I have an FK8, I have a CTR, I understand how expensive these cars are and how hard they are to get, right? When the car first launched in the United States, the MSRP, I think, was supposed to be around like $35,000, and it was super common to see the cars selling for like $45,000. Dealer markups was a motherfucker. Well, it is 2021. I believe this car started selling in 2017, and the dealer markup is still real, and the car is still extremely hard to come by. Used CTRs show up and disappear almost immediately. Like when I got my CTRs, because the dealership kept saying, hey, trade in. And then I got a call, and I was like, listen, I don't want to trade my SI. I was like, the only thing that you guys have, because they were trying to put me in a brand new Honda Civic, like, I don't want a brand new Honda Civic EX automatic fucking piece of shit. I'm keeping my manual gearbox tonight, and I'm keeping my SIs. Like, I'm not interested in anything that you guys have except for the CTR. And like, so if it's not a CTR, I don't want to hear it. Like, well, you're in luck, sir. We have 3 in stock. So I was like, oh, well, okay, I'll come tomorrow. I go the next day. 2 of the 3 have already sold in one day, so, I want to pay for getting mine, and I want to pay like an obscene amount of money for my car, for a combination of huge dealer markups and because of the fact that I was upside down on my fucking SI. So it is, these cars are hard to find, and I was looking, like, I had been actively looking for like the whole year I had the SI. I was, I got maybe like 6 months into owning the car, and I was already considering looking for a Type R. So again, to say the Type R has sold amazingly well, and I also think it's not a coincidence that they're bringing back the Integra brand specifically in the United States. I'm pretty sure the RSX was still the Integra overseas, but I definitely think that they're just showing how very much that they're talking to the enthusiasts with this car. They're tugging on the enthusiast nostalgia heartstrings, right? And this also goes into talk about the shit that I was saying before. People selling these older cars, the older cars for like asking like $8,000 for old OEM Honda Civics or whatnot. Nope. Yeah, you guys, go ahead and overprice the fuck out of the old school market, and I will just buy newer cars. I will move on to the EP3s and the RSXs and the 8th Gen SIs and the 9th Gen SIs and the 10th Gen. When I traded my 10th Gen SI in to the dealership for the Type R, my trade-in value was $15,000 on that car. I think that in another maybe 5 years, you're going to be able to get a 10th Gen SI for like $8,000, especially if the next generation Civic, improves on the powertrain, because the L15 in that car is a piece of shit. And I think that most people are going to be dodging the fuck out of that car, which is going to take the fucking resale value, which is crazy considering how well the Type R is selling, right? But so you guys spend your $8,000 on the old school ones, and I'll spend that same money on fucking buying a 10 Gen SI, and modifying that. So again, so and I think this is another one of those things. Like, well, would I spend obscene amount of money on an old school Integra that I would have to modify to really enjoy, or am I going to buy a new ITR? Yeah. So now I think the Acura brand hasn't had a manual car since so I was talking to somebody earlier in 2014, right? I think we all remember when they did away with that. They just weren't selling very well, right? And so the CTR again is a proof that people will buy the fuck out of a manual car, especially if it's the right one. I think that at the time when Acura went out of business with the selling the manuals, there was just a lot of options. There was a lot of performance car options, and now almost all of the performance cars have switched over to automatic cars. Even excuse me, guys. But even the Corvette, even the newest Corvette, doesn't have a manual option anymore. So like it's so once you shrink the field down that much, that goes to play in a factor too. Like what else you're gonna buy? The Supra is automatic only. The GTR is automatic only. I think like Porsche is the only one that like specifically makes exotic cars that has a manual gearbox still, and that's of course we don't know how long that's gonna last. But I 100% believe that the Integra is gonna have a manual option, and also think it's going to be faster than the CTR, right? If we look at the past, the CTR, the original CTR and the original ITR, you had a B16B and a B18C. So if we're going to play off that ratio, I think that it's a possibility that we're going to get another K24. And just like we have the K20C in the CTR, I think that we'll probably get a K24C or maybe something along those lines in the ITR. And I would expect it to be probably, mid 300s. I'd say mid 300s. I even believe that the new CTR is getting a power upgrade, although I can't say that 100% for sure. I do know that the top speeds of the newer CTRs are faster. Like the current 2021 CTR is currently the fastest one, and it's still the 10th gen. So we haven't even got the 11th gen CTR yet, and we don't really know how fast that's gonna be. So if they're gonna bump up power of the new model CTR coming out and for the 11th gen, then it could be a possibility that we're approaching the 400 horsepower range, or the 400 horsepower range for the ITR. Now, as far as cost goes, I think that we're gonna find. I think that this car is gonna land in between the CTR and the NSX, and which is another announcement we got, the NSX Type S, which is getting a limited release. I think they're making 350 cars and 300 are getting released in the US. That goes to show you how big the enthusiast market is here too. But I think the NSX base model is like $170,000 to get into it, So with the dealer markup from the CTR, like commonly showing like 40,000 plus, I would imagine that the ITR might be in the $60,000 to $80,000 range. And I think the car is going to be fucking phenomenal, man. It's an Acura, so technically it's it's the luxury lineup, and it's so it's going to be a luxury lineup sport coupe. And I think that they're coming out with this car, they're taking a gamble on bringing this car back, and for it to sell and for it to be an option that people would want to buy, you would have to weigh the cost of that car versus the immediate competitors. Like I was looking at the Supra recently too, and the Supra I think is like only like 40 something $1,000, and it's faster than the CTR. But again, it's a 2-seater and it's automatic only. And when me buying the CTR was also a big part of that too. Like I needed I want a 4-door car, to take my kids to and from school or to take the family out. It's much easier to have more doors than a fucking coupe that you need to pull up and then and back seats, of course, in general. So yeah, I guess I'll ended up with this because I kind of been all over the place in this video. But just running up theories and my thoughts of what the ITR or what the new Integra is going to be. I think that we'll probably see 3 trims from the Integra. We'll probably see like a base model Integra, a base model shitty engine Integra, and then we'll see the fucking like a GSR version if they don't call it a GSR again, and then we'll see a Type R. So we might see like 2 different versions of a K24. One's detuned and one's tuned up for the ITR. So I'm curious to see that. I'm definitely curious to see. I can't wait to see the price tag on it, because I know there's a lot of Civic Type R owners that are going to be looking to eyeball to trade it out for the ITR. And there's a lot of enthusiasts that are stuck in the SI that want to get to the Type R. And I think that a lot of Type R owners are going to be trading in their fucking car for the ITR. And I think because the new ITR is going to be out, the demand for the CTR is going to subside a little bit. So we might see a little curving off. We'll probably see a doing away of the markup, the dealer markup for the CTR. And I think that more enthusiasts are going to be able to get in those, as the people who have a lot more money to spend are going to be jumping in the potential ITR that's going to be coming up. So yeah. So I guess again, final predictions are going to be, so I can look back on this and call it later on, is going to be a K24 as the engine platform. I think we're going to see mid to low 400s for the horsepower range, and I believe $60,000 to $80,000 for the price tag. And the one thing that I hope I'm wrong about is the price tag. I hope that the price is like 50 to 60, but I think we'll see. You know, again, Acura is a luxury brand lineup, so I don't really, judging by the cost of the NSX, I don't see how it's going to be much cheaper than that, or any much cheaper than what I've already predicted, because I think that the power gap and the performance and the luxury overall is going to be a significant gap from the CTR. So if the CTRs are going for like 40K, I just don't see how we're going to see anything less than a $20,000 markup. All right, guys. So leave your thoughts below. What the fuck do you think? What do you think we're gonna? What do you expect to see? You know, throw it down in the comments. Let me know. All right, guys. Peace.